Angel here. I just finished up my floor in the Head Hutt here, and it's far from perfect, and in fact, it's quite flawed. And I was yesterday reviewing pictures from this massive project. It's not actually massive, but it's labor intensive. It was and still is. And when I was reviewing photos, it kind of actually exhausted me just looking at all the work I did, and much of it was inefficient, and some of it was ineffective. And if I would have let the fact that I didn't know how to do all these things, or that the workload was overwhelming, if I thought it through, stop me, then I wouldn't have even started this project, and I wouldn't be nearly done with it. And even though it's flawed in many, many ways, I'm super stoked that it's come along this far, and that it's nearly complete. It's pretty much complete now. We're just working on little, cosmetic details, really. I've got some, every time I turn around, I finish one part, I realize there's some more cosmetic detail I need to take care of. The point, though, is that you got to be willing to fail. You got to be willing to make mistakes. You got to, in fact, expect and embrace making mistakes and failing in order to get better, in order to really do something. I just kind of show you the magnitude of this sculpture, and this is the inside of it. Clearly there's also an outside of it, and every bit of it took kind of an insane amount of work. I did a lot of things the hard way, not knowing how to really do them. A lot of things like these feather eyelash leaves were, kind of ridiculously labor intensive, and not necessarily the best, most effective way to do what I was doing, but I just jumped in and learned as I was doing it. I was willing to make mistakes, willing to fail, and in so doing, I have, created this mega sculpture, almost finished. I got lots of little cosmetic details, like I mentioned. The point is, though, if you've got something that you want to do, especially if it's something big and you don't know how to do it, don't let the fact that you don't know how to do it stop you from starting. Don't let the fact that you're sure to fail and mess some things up and make some messes, and don't let that stop you from starting. If you want to do something. If you don't want to do nothing, then don't. If you do want to do something that you haven't done before, or maybe that no one has done before, you have to be willing to fail. You have to be willing to be imperfect as you learn and as you keep practicing. So this is my second piece of stone work, and I don't know that it went a little quicker than the first. I don't know that it's any better necessarily, although it fits this area pretty well. I'm very happy with it, and at the same time, I see plenty of room for improvement. I didn't do a great job leveling it. I didn't spend a lot of time picking my pieces. I kind of went pretty organic, and just tried to let it flow. And in doing that, well, there's a lot of room for improvement. The thing is, it matches the energy of this whole project, which has been a classroom for learning, for me to learn all these new building and sculptural techniques. And so failure and imperfection was something that I have embraced. It's in this project in particular, but really in my whole life. And sometimes to a fault, like some people probably wish I spent a little more time polishing things up and making them a little more perfect. But hey, it is what it is. And again, back to my original point, which is that this wouldn't exist if I let those kind of doubts, that need to be perfect, that need to know what I'm doing, stop me from starting. Instead, I just had an inspiration, an intuitive idea, and I've started. And along the way, I've learned so much, and I've done just kind of an unbelievable amount of work. Like I mentioned, I was reviewing pictures of this project, which I thought I'd been working on for 6 years, but it turns out I started 8 years ago in May of 2010, and it is now February of 2018, so nearly 8 years ago. I had like several big chunks of time, 10 months being the longest, several months at several points where I didn't work on it at all. And even as I've been working on it, like the work I did today was probably less than half an hour of work. So there have been many days where I just did a half hour or an hour of work. And because I was a mom, I'm still a mom, but at the time I was raising my son, and when I started this, I was raising my son and running my business, which I still am, and having a life. So I can't always, now if this was my main, my only main objective, like to build a place to live in, then I could have finished it in probably a year max, even without many resources, if I had, the time to focus on it. As it was, I was doing a lot of other things. This has been like a side project. I've spent some whole days out here, that's for sure. Many thousands of hours have gone into this project, spread out over that 8 years. The point is, don't let the unknown, don't let fear of failure stop you from starting. Go ahead and start. Go ahead and embrace the fact that if you're doing something for the first time, if you're doing something new, if you're the first person that's done something, you're probably going to mess up. You're probably going to have to make some mistakes, improve on those, learn as you go. You might have to change your idea if you try something and it turns out that it just doesn't work, or it doesn't work the way you thought it did, and so you have to come up with a new plan. This happens in life, in construction, in sculpturing, in art, in songwriting, all the things I do, in love, all of it. So it's important to not let that get you down. In fact, it's good if you can kind of get excited about it and think, woohoo, I'm failing, I'm learning, I'm getting better. That's how I look at it. That's my 2 cents for today. I hope you are failing forward, as they say, and enjoying every minute of it. Till next time, peace, prosperity, positivity, and potential.